There's no way. Look, though, look. Players like this come around once, sometimes in our lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
There hasn't been
once in a generation, certainly.
But no player in NBA, in WNBA history, has had to deal with this.
The one thing I just don't like, and I don't care what people say, I feel like there's a lot of hate on Caitlin Clark, and I think because she's white.
When NBA legends speak, people listen. Not because they have to, but because they've seen it all. Championships and controversy. The greatness up close. So when those same legends start weighing in on Caitlin Clark, you know we've crossed into a whole new level of conversation. We're not talking about PR-approved compliments. We're talking about unfiltered, sometimes uncomfortable truths. But what happens when legends don't just praise you? They call out the league by name. When legends like Magic, Barkley, and Gervin step in, siding with Caitlin and calling out the hate, you know something's changed. These aren't bloggers or analysts. They're the same guys who built the league. And now, they're calling it out, and what they're saying, it's not just praise, it's pressure. Pressure on the WNBA, on the media, on players who've treated Caitlin like a target instead of a teammate. Because if they don't listen, the league risks losing the one thing it's been chasing for decades, real, lasting relevance. They're not just watching, they're comparing. Naming names, some are calling her the Tiger Woods of women's hoops. Some say if she's not on the court, nobody's watching. Others are calling out the hate by name, race, jealousy, bitterness, stuff nobody wanted to touch until now. And what Magic, Barkley, and KG reveal next? It's the kind of truth that could tear the league wide open. Jeff Teague doesn't talk like a media pro. He talks like your cousin who just watched the game and has something to say. And when the topic of Caitlin Clark came up, he didn't give some polished take. He gave a reality check.
Ain't nobody gonna watch basketball if she ain't playing.
Ain't nobody gonna watch basketball if she ain't playing. That one line says more than half the hot takes floating around right now. Teague wasn't guessing. He wasn't exaggerating. He was telling the truth, and it stung. Because think about that. A former NBA All-Star just admitted that one player in the WNBA is the reason people are tuning in. And Teague didn't say it to boost her ego. He said it because he's been around long enough to know what actual star power looks like, and Caitlin has it. She's not just raising viewership, she is the viewership. And then, he doubled down. Teague didn't just praise Caitlin Clark, he anointed her.
She the best.
She's the best ever, bro. I don't care, bro. She's the best ever, bro.
So is she gonna be like LeBron with the stats?
Let's slow that down. That's not casual barbershop talk. That's a grown man who played at the highest level, putting Caitlin in GOAT conversations just 2 years into her professional career. And it's not just about numbers, it's what those numbers mean. Teague sees the game trending toward her. He's not predicting success, he's predicting dominance, the kind you measure in box scores, banners, and billion-dollar contracts. And what makes this hit harder? He wasn't smiling when he said it. He wasn't joking. He believed every word. Teague doesn't hand out compliments like this. This is the guy who once said he didn't think Kawhi Leonard was that good after guarding him. Jeff keeps it brutally real. So when someone like that says Caitlin Clark could be the LeBron of women's hoops, you stop what you're doing and pay attention. Because the next legend we're hearing from, he didn't even need to say anything to prove how big Caitlin's become. Michael Thompson is a two-time NBA champion, father of one of the greatest shooters ever. He's been around stars his entire life, on the court, in locker rooms, in tunnels. So when he tells you something about Caitlin Clark, you pay attention.
When I was in Indy, I didn't care about that. The only thing I remember about Indy is when I was leaving Cambridge Arena in a loading dock, Caitlin Clark walked right by me. And I froze. I didn't say hello to her. How about that? My favorite basketball player outside of Clay was right there in front of me. There she was. And I said, no, I can't do it. But getting back to your question, you're right. That's what I remember most about Indiana. Caitlin Clark was right there next to me.
He didn't choke in front of Michael Jordan. Didn't freeze around Magic. But Caitlin Clark walks by, and he's speechless? That's not a compliment. That's awe. Because Michael isn't reacting to just a good player. He's reacting to a force. Something cultural. Something that makes grown men forget what they were going to say. She's not just playing in the WNBA. She's reshaping it. And when a guy who raised Klay Thompson says Caitlin is his favorite player, that's not hype. It's confirmation. She's cracked through every level of the basketball world. Men's, women's, fans, players, and now, legends. And just when you thought the respect couldn't get bigger, one of the biggest names in NBA history gave her a challenge and a crown. Magic Johnson knows exactly what it means to carry a league. He He did it with style, with pressure, with enemies watching and fans following. So when he speaks about Caitlin Clark, he's not offering compliments, he's offering context.
They're going to be tested by these incredible women who've been in the league for a long time. Caitlin is the most popular WNBA player, but she's not the best at this time. Just like Larry and I were not the best when we entered the league. We became the best later on by our play. Caitlin still has to play great to become the best WNBA player.
That's not hate, that's a standard. And coming from Magic, it's actually a compliment, because he's not just saying she's popular, he's saying her path is already mirroring the greats, like him and Bird. Caitlin isn't being judged on a different scale, she's being measured against legends now. That's how big this is. And the best part? Magic's not writing her off. He's saying, keep going, you've got the stage, now take the crown. But not every legend kept it that calm. One Hall of Famer? He said what a lot of fans have secretly wanted to see. Reggie Miller has never been shy about speaking his mind. One of the coldest shooters and trash talkers in NBA history, Reggie's used to getting in people's heads. So when he saw what Caitlin Clark's been dealing with, he didn't suggest more patience, he suggested violence.
Now, what I would love Caitlin to do is get up one time and then just slap the out of her.
And that's not even a joke. It's a line filled with frustration, not from Caitlin, but from Reggie himself. He sees what's happening, the constant hits, the flagrant fouls, the weird silence from the league and other players. And he's saying enough is enough. Because when you've got a star carrying your ratings, bringing in fans, and raising the profile of your sport, you protect her. Period. And the fact that nobody has? That's why Reggie's saying what he's saying. Not because he wants chaos, but because it might take one slap to finally wake people up. And someone else who knows exactly how to deliver a message like that just happens to be a 7-time NBA champion. Robert Horry doesn't say much, but when he does, it's usually cold, calculated, and real. So when Shaquille O'Neal said Caitlin Clark needs to wait her turn, Horry didn't hold back. He didn't defend Shaq. He didn't ease into it. He blew the whole idea up with one sentence.
Shaq said he loved Caitlin Clark, but, quote, she needs to wait her turn. Do you agree with the idea that great players, no matter how great they are, need to wait their turn? This was from Ben.
Hey, first of all, let's start off with Shaq. You ain't wait your turn.
Straight up. That wasn't just a comeback. That was a call out to everyone who thinks Caitlin should slow down or pay her dues before getting respect. Horry's not buying it. Not when the league is profiting off her already. Not when she's the reason the spotlight is even on. If anything, she's earned more in months than some players did in 10 years. And Horry knows it. He's seen stars rise, he's seen greatness develop, and what he sees in Caitlin isn't something that needs to wait. And if that wasn't clear enough, Paul Pierce took it even further. He said what Caitlin is facing right now, which no player has ever dealt with before. Paul Pierce knows pressure, he's played through it, lived in it, and thrived under it. But when he looks at Caitlin Clark, he sees a level of pressure that even he never had to carry. And he didn't just say that casually, he broke it down with a kind of respect that can only come from someone who's lived it.
Players like this come around once, sometimes in our lifetime. There hasn't been
once in a generation, certainly.
But no player in NBA, in WNBA history has had to deal with this, right?
What?
What she's dealing with.
What?
Like,
what is she dealing with?
Fouling from day one already, but she's been crowned. I mean, she's already, nobody, who was the face of the league in the first few years of the WNBA?
That pause, that stutter, that's Pierce searching for precedent and not finding any. Because there is no precedent. Caitlin Clark didn't just enter the league, she became its focal point overnight. Endorsements, ratings, headlines, expectations, and every single player, veteran or not, is watching her every move. Pierce knows what it's like to be crowned too early. He knows the heat that comes with being next. But Caitlin's dealing with that and a whole lot more. Race narratives, locker room jealousy, league silence, and endless cameras. He didn't say she's perfect. He didn't say she's done it all yet. But what he made clear is this. Nobody's ever been hit with this much this fast, and she's still standing. And if that still wasn't enough, KG came through and made it spiritual. Kevin doesn't play the politics game, he doesn't care who's offended, and he sure doesn't sugarcoat the truth. So when he spoke about Caitlin Clark, he did what only KG can do. He made it raw, real, and personal.
It's a privilege too, though. It's a privilege, though. It's a privilege to be in a position where others are hating on you. And when others are hating on you, that means you're doing something right. You know what I'm saying?
And with that, KG flipped the whole Caitlyn's being hated narrative on its head. Because most people see the backlash, the fouls, the cold stares, and ask, why is this happening? But KG, he sees it and says, good. He knows that hate only comes when you're a threat. And Caitlin Clark isn't just a player, she's a walking disruption to the old way of doing things. She's making money move, media move, culture move, and the hate? That's just proof it's working. KG's been that player before, the one with the target on his back, the one opponents don't want to see succeed. And he's not giving Caitlin sympathy, he's giving her game. He's telling her what every legend learns eventually. If they're not mad, you're not doing enough. But then came a legend who took it even further, not just about haters, about consequences. Rick Barry didn't just call it wrong. Rick didn't dance around the topic. He didn't tiptoe. He went straight for the jugular. Because while some former players are just now admitting Caitlin Clark is facing unnecessary contact, Barry went a step further and demanded action.
I think it's reprehensible what they're allowing some of these players. Anybody that does something flagrant to this young lady for what she's brought to the game should be suspended and fined big time for doing that.
That's not a hot take. That's a Hall of Famer talking about league accountability. Rick's not saying Caitlin needs to be babied. He's saying the league needs to wake up. Because right now, they're letting players take cheap shots at the most valuable asset they've had in decades and pretending it's normal. This isn't about a hard screen. It's about intent, about hitting her for who she is, not how she plays. And Barry sees it. He's not arguing for special treatment. He's arguing for equal protection. If any other star, NBA or WNBA got tackled off ball like Caitlin has, there'd be fines, there'd be ejections, there'd be a press release. But with Caitlin, just a shrug and a silent whistle. Barry is saying what the league refuses to. You're letting this happen, and it's shameful. And the worst part? The very players who benefit most from Caitlin's presence, some of them are the ones doing the damage. George Gervin saw it too. And what he said next might be the realest take of all. George Gervin is known as the Iceman, cool, calm, legendary. But when it came to Caitlin Clark, he didn't stay quiet. He melted the room. Gervin didn't just talk about the hate. He went deeper. He talked about the value. The value Caitlin's bringing to every single player in the WNBA, even the ones throwing elbows at her.
And think about it, y'all. I mean, we're dealing with imperfect people. I mean, and when you look at it, they don't know the value that she's bringing for all of them. She bringing, they flying private planes now. They weren't flying private before she came. They on major networks now. They weren't doing that. See, she remind me of Tiger Woods for golf.
Yes.
He changed the paycheck.
Let that sink in. Tiger Woods for golf, Caitlin Clark for women's basketball, and Gervin wasn't done.
Why ain't somebody, unions, making this an issue for these girls to say like, man, we need another Caitlin Clark if we gonna be able to get all these benefits because they didn't have it before she got into the league.
This isn't just a compliment. It's a call out to the league, to the players, to the unions. Caitlin Clark is the rising tide lifting every boat. She's the one bringing better flights, better deals, bigger audiences, and yet she's also the one getting hit the hardest. The math doesn't add up, and Gervin sees it clear as day, but he's not the only one calling out the hate directly. Matt Barnes said the quiet part way out loud. Matt Barnes has always been brutally honest. On the court, off the court, on podcasts, on TV, he says what others are too afraid to admit. So when he spoke up about Caitlin Clark, he didn't just defend her, he dropped a truth bomb.
I think she has the Tiger Woods effect, the way he put golf fans in a craze. Whether you're a golf fan or not, you tuned in and you wanted to learn about the game because he was so incredible. I think she has that effect.
That's high praise. But then, he said the part everyone else danced around.
The one thing I just don't like, and I don't care what people say, I feel like there's a lot of hate on Caitlin Clark. And I think because she's white.
There it is. No dodging, no vague allusions to bias or resentment. Barnes laid it flat. A lot of this hate is racial. And he's not wrong. Caitlin's not the first flashy guard, not the first bucket getter, not the first player to have confidence. But she is the first white woman to be marketed as the face of the WNBA from day one. And for some, that's a problem. Barnes is saying what many are whispering behind the scenes. This isn't just about paying dues or veteran toughness. It's about discomfort with who's now holding the torch. He didn't say it to stir drama. He said it because it's the truth. And truth like that doesn't need defending. And then came Zeke. And he wasn't whispering anything either. Thomas is a master of basketball IQ. He doesn't just see what's happening on the court, he sees why it's happening. And when he broke down Caitlin Clark's game, he didn't focus on hype or headlines or controversy. He focused on the basketball.
So what are they doing now? They're running. You see creativity, you see originality, you see all that stuff in transition now because the floor is spread. As soon as they get the ball, make a miss, they are out, man. They are out filling the lanes, running their spots, getting to their spot. Why? Because they know Caitlin gonna give it up. That's the beauty that we're watching in basketball right now with Caitlin Clark.
That's not just a compliment. That's an analysis of impact. Isaiah isn't talking about Caitlin's scoring. He's talking about how her presence is shaping the entire game. She's not just changing how defenses react, she's changing how her teammates run the floor. She's speeding up the WNBA's pace. She's unlocking movement, spacing, and creativity, and doing it as a rookie. And Thomas, one of the most unselfish high IQ point guards in NBA history, sees it clearly. Caitlin's a playmaker, not just a shooter, not just a scorer. She's the engine. When a Hall of Famer breaks down your game like this, that's not hype, that's validation. And that leads us into a player who knows a thing or two about training, work ethic, and spotting real shooters. Patrick Beverley kept it short, but the respect was loud. Beverley doesn't hand out compliments easily. He's a grinder, a professional irritant, a guy who's built his career on defense, discipline, and outworking everyone else in the gym. So when he gives respect, especially to another grinder, it means something.
You know, I say what's up, but I'm not the type to say what's up to interrupt your workout because I don't like people to interrupt mine. She can shoot the shit out of it.
And the WNBA assist leader this past year.
She can shoot the shit out the ball.
She's a great shooter.
And she's one of those workout people.
That last line, one of those workout people, is where the real praise lives. Because for Pat Bev, that's the highest compliment. It means you show up early, stay late, keep your head down, and grind while the cameras flash somewhere else. And that's how he sees Caitlin Clark. A pure worker who lives in the gym and earns everything she's getting. He didn't overhype her, didn't compare her to stars, he just kept it real. She's got the strap. And she's got the vision. She's even got the discipline. And maybe that's why so many players don't know how to handle her. Because they see the media love, the charter flights, the attention, but they don't see the grind behind it. Pat Bev sees it. He's lived it. And that's why he respects it. And then, finally, the mic dropped. Barkley spoke. And he didn't hold back anything. Charles Barkley has always been loud, unfiltered, and unapologetically honest. But when he spoke up about how the WNBA has handled Caitlin Clark, he wasn't just speaking the truth. He was dropping a grenade on live television.
These ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan, they cannot have this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they tried. People believe what we say on television. Just because people don't like you or your personality, they can't get on TV and slander you. It's just total bullshit. This girl is incredible. The number of attention, eyeballs she's brought to college and the pros, and for these women to have this petty jealousness, you say to yourself, damn, what is going on here? And the thing I love about her, she never says a word.
That wasn't commentary. That was an indictment. Barkley went after it all. Petty players, bitter vets, biased media voices, and an entire league that has somehow managed to fumble the biggest star in its history. He laid it bare. Caitlin Clark is the reason WNBA players are flying private, getting more media coverage, and finally seeing the benefits they've been demanding for years. And how are some of them reacting? Cold shoulders, targeting her, dismissing her, acting like she hasn't earned it? Barkley's message was crystal clear. You asked for this moment. Now don't ruin it. Because whether they like her or not, the truth is the same. She's already changed everything. And if Barkley has to be the one to say it first, he's not afraid to light the fuse. If this many legends can see it clearly, Magic, KG, Pierce, Gervin, Barkley, then what's everyone else waiting for? They're not confused, they're not scared to speak, and they're sure as hell not staying silent. So why is the league? Caitlin Clark doesn't need protection. She's already proven she can take the hits. But when legends speak up, that's not for her. That's for everybody else. They're not sugarcoating it. They're not sidestepping the race talk. They're not ignoring the hate. They're saying the quiet part out loud. The double standards, the dirty fouls, the jealousy, the league's silence. Matt Barnes called out the hate directly. Reggie Miller said maybe it's time Caitlin slaps someone. Rick Barry said suspend anyone who targets her. George Gervin compared her to Tiger Woods. Charles Barkley said this league is fumbling its biggest star in history. How many more signs do you need? Caitlin Clark didn't just enter the WNBA. She changed the stakes. She flipped the spotlight, turned empty gyms into sold-out arenas, and dragged women's basketball into the mainstream with nothing but a jumper and a chip on her shoulder. And now, the old guard, the ones who made this game, are telling the new guard to pay attention. Respect the moment, respect the woman, or get left behind. Because what Caitlin's doing right now, it's not temporary. It's not hype. It's the beginning of a legacy.